The changing landscape of the housing market in Las Vegas requires a real estate professional that understands how to get your offer accepted, willing to go above and beyond for service and accountability. Hi, my name is Dan French. I've been in the real estate and financing industry for over 13 years. Most real estate agents struggle with answering their phone. Please call me directly, 702-557-6176. I'm available for all your real estate needs.
Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
And what's going on, everybody? This is the French Workbench Podcast here on a Tuesday. We have a couple of new faces going on here today, and I just want to go ahead and introduce everybody in here. Thank you guys for tuning in. A lot of good information we're going to talk about today. This is primarily financing and real estate, but it's everything Las Vegas, this channel. And I want to talk a lot about what's happening with the Formula One. We're going to talk a little bit about that. What happened with the Raiders? They lost, right? Also, we're going to talk about mortgage rate lockdown, right? Rates, are they locked down now? You got the Fed come out. Inflation's a problem. So we're going to talk a lot about what's happening with rates and where they're going to head heading in the near future. Also, the fourth quarter. We're going to talk with Mr. Zach Martinez from Simply Vegas. He's here in studio. We're going to talk with him about what's happening in the housing market, and we'll kind of go back and forth and see what he has to think about really what's going on here. Also, we have a special guest. We have Mr. Ace Bedich. He's from Green Oasis Pools and Landscaping. He's here to talk about the costs of what's going on with these inflated costs with these pools, also with the contracting work, and just in general, the material costs. And also, we have a water shortage. I think everybody knows that here in Las Vegas. We're going to talk with him about what's happening with pools and the regulations we're going to see here in the future. So, without further ado, let's go ahead. Mr. Zach Martinez, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. What's going on with you? How's life?
Just living. Life's good. Can't complain.
Yeah. Anything new happening?
Nothing. Just working.
Working.
I was just talking
dude,
to you guys.
What are you like, dude? What are you just working all the time? Like, do you have any hobbies? Do you go anywhere? Like, what do you do, man?
I'm a workaholic. I'm pretty much just a robot. All right. Don't go to sleep. I don't need sleep. I just work. That's all.
Do you take those like 1 o'clock real estate phone calls, dude, where it's like somebody's calling you to say like, hey, is this house for sale? Because they work like a graveyard shift. And like, do you answer that phone? Are you that dedicated?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually behind a desk. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., doesn't matter. I'm kidding. Totally kidding. I was just complaining about how today felt like a Monday, but
yeah, dude. So what's going on, man? Listen, the housing market is still doing good. I think you're putting some offers in. You got things happening, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But what do you typically do on your days off if you have one? Like, do you go out to the strip? Like, what do you do, man?
Yeah. All right. I can't. I got to be honest. Yeah. I don't work that much. I was just messing around. But yeah, I have a couple of days off every now and then. But yeah, we hang out. I was actually down on Fremont this past weekend with a couple of friends. Well, actually, we watched UFC.
You know what
fights.
goes down on Fremont, don't you? Isn't that free? What happens on Fremont Street? Tell me what happens. I haven't been down there.
It's cool. I don't know. It's cool to get out there. I mean, I like going to the strip every now and then, but I feel like that's just kind of. I personally feel it's nice to change things up. I don't want to go to the strip all the time, so Fremont's a nice way to change it up. They got the live music out there.
There's definitely some people watching down there as well.
Interesting characters, for sure. But
dude, what's the last person, like when you were out there, like what is the last person that was like just odd to you, like walking around? Because dude, they got all these people walking around, they got things hanging out, you know what I mean? And then they got like buckets where you can tip. You got all these people banging on stuff, right? Like drums and stuff, right? I mean, that's what happens down there,
yeah,
right?
That's it.
I mean, is that what do you remember down there? You got to give me some more detail. Like what is some things that people could think about when they're thinking about Fremont Street and that experience? Because it's an experience, right?
Well, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but the way you just described it right now made it seem like a wasteland or something. Just people trying to survive.
Dude, it's Mad Max down there, bro. It's like it's free for all.
No, it's cool. I mean, the street performers, they're different. Things might be hanging out, but
yeah, I mean, I think the performers went from a dwelling building to outside and they can get the same tips, right? That's what a lot of them did.
I think so.
A lot of them did that, man, because of COVID. You know, they couldn't go to COVID. So, all right, I'm going to go out to the actually Las Vegas Boulevard and work there.
You know, they have you been out to Fremont recently? No. Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm leaning on you, man.
All right. Well, okay. Long story short, it's cool. I like it because there's a bunch of bars you can go to. You can just hop around. There's some cool spots.
It's way more laid back.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, again, I feel like it's more local. You know, not like the Strip. The whole. You know, you're getting away from all the clubs and the shows, and you're going somewhere a bit more. I guess you can say normal, right? Not normal.
Listen,
No.
They have those 2 and 3 story, right? Like those nightclubs where you go on the top. Is it like clubs out there and they got like games and stuff? I mean, this is what I used to know of this. Is it the same out there?
Oh no. So Fremont, no, there's not really like nightclubs. It's just like a bunch of bars. Like there's this place called the Nerd Bar, which is really cool. It's the bunch of Star Wars, like video game type stuff, but it's a bar.
Oh, dude.
So there's places like that.
Wow.
There's some crazy like little dive bars that you might feel like you would get into a fight at, but they're not dangerous. They're just they're just fun.
Just that vibe.
But yeah, going back to the street performers, they have little circles that these street performers they have to stay in. Yeah, you have to, I guess, register for a spot or something. Isn't
I
that
didn't
weird?
know all that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a video on it on TikTok. And it was just really interesting. I was like, I didn't know that. I thought you could just show up with your stuff and start dancing around, singing.
Are you a dancer? I
No,
gotta move
not at
over
all.
to Ace. Not at all.
No.
So you don't go out there like if a hot girl came up to you and says, Zach,
I gotta move
I
over
need
to
you to
Ace.
hit the
Are you a
floor."
dancer?
I need to know, man. Like, do
get
you
off
have
that easy,
rhythm?
Zach.
What the ladies want to know out here is, do you have rhythm? If you get asked out to the floor, right?
Are you going?
Are you gonna like take a shot and take one for the team and go out there and do it, or
Oh, yeah, I
are you
mean-
just gonna be just kind of posted up and not really do anything? You tell me. What would you do?
Well, I mean, if I had a couple of these, then maybe. But no, I mean, I definitely. I'm not like a part of the Jabberwockies. Like, I'm not going to go out there and start busting flips and stuff. But I think I got a little bit of rhythm.
All right, we're gonna move over to Mr. Ace. Ace is the place. What's
Yes,
going on,
yes.
Ace? Oasis Pools and Landscape, man. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Thanks for having me, Dan. Appreciate
So, what's going on in your world? Like, what have you been up to?
A lot of work, to be honest with you. Work's been crazy, but I got 3 kids as well, so I got a lot of sports activities on the weekends that keep me busy. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Sports with the kids, and work during the Monday through Friday hours.
We're going to get into this here in a second about costs, material costs. I think a lot of people want to know what's happening with pools. Everybody wants to know about what's going on with the water situation.
Yes.
And we'll talk a little bit about also landscaping and what some changes are, because I'm sure you're aware that there's some changes going on where you can't have landscaping. I'm going to tell you guys a story about that. So let's talk a little bit about your situation. First, we're going to get into Formula One, and I want to talk a little bit about this. So, Zach, you're a big guy in Formula One, right? You like Formula One?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Big fan.
Huge fan, right? So in Formula One's coming out here next year, and they're already starting to get bookings. They're talking about getting like $19.5 million from this, right? And last time they did it, I think it was like in the early 80s, right? And so they're going to come out here.
At
and
Caesars, right? Back in the
Yeah,
day
it's
at
going to be
Caesars.
back in the day at Caesars.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a thing. So are you getting tickets now, man?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, when they had it back in the 80s at Caesars, it was just they just did it in a parking lot. But this time they're actually doing it on the Strip. And it's going to be huge. I mean, Formula One is huge worldwide, but it's just barely, I don't want to say barely, but I can see it growing a lot in the United States. So it's going to be huge.
Dude, it's already big in the United States, but I think Vegas, it's like you ask this question, like, what do we not have now? Like, think about it. Football, I mean, the only thing we don't, I mean, we have a couple of things like basketball, but it's coming, right?
It's coming.
Baseball, it's coming, right? I mean, what do we not have, right? Women's mud wrestling, right? We don't have that yet.
Well, I mean,
Zach,
if you
are
go to the
gonna
right
petition
places,
for that?
if you go to the right places, maybe.
He's
If you end up on
downtown.
Fremont, then maybe.
He's down on
Zach's going to
Fremont.
petition mud wrestling, only women, right, Zach? I mean, you want guys or no, just women, right? Let me do this real quick. Hold on. Zach, don't look behind you, buddy.
Oh my
Something's
gosh.
creeping up on you.
Dan, what's behind me?
What do you think about Formula One? Are you into Formula One?
I'm not really into it, no, but I can see how it could be huge out here for sure. I mean, if it's worldwide and it's just another draw to Vegas, right? Bringing more people from all over the world to Vegas.
Yeah, people are booking now, and it's like over a year. I think it's like November,
It's
like
November
middle
of next year.
of next year.
Yeah.
And they got people booking now, and they're already saying that this thing's getting booked with the hotels.
It's crazy.
If you guys are out there for Formula One, you better start now, because I know it sounds crazy, but Vegas gets booked up quick.
Yeah.
Like really quick.
Now,
right?
so I don't know if you guys probably don't really know a lot about it at all, do you?
No, not much.
Okay.
No.
So it's not just a race. So when I went out in Austin last year for the United States Grand Prix, back when it was only Austin. Now we have Austin here, Las Vegas, and then they've got Miami. So they've got 3 races here in the United States. But anyway, it's not just the race. So they have 3 days. They have practice sessions on one day. They have qualifying on the next. And then they've got the actual race.
So it's like a whole event.
It's like a weekend, right?
Yeah.
And then it's not just Formula One. They've got Formula 2. They've got the W Series, which is all
they got a
women's.
Formula 2. I didn't even
Formula
know that.
3. I don't know how that's going to work here. I just know that there's other races and stuff like that.
Right.
Is that like a lower class? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Different car as well?
yeah. I mean, it's all completely different,
Okay.
but for the most part, same track. And then they've got a whole ton of like entertainment and stuff. So when I went in Austin, Billy Joel performed. They had, a bunch of DJs, and it was like a whole carnival. So EDC, the big festival that they have
Yeah.
here, Insomniac, that's like the company that organizes it. They're officially a partner
wow.
for the race week. So I'd assume there's going to be concerts and stuff on the strip.
On the strip?
So it's going to be huge. It's not just the race, but it's like all around like a huge like
Gotcha.
party, I guess
Right.
you can say. So it'll be really fun.
And
I'm
do you
excited.
think that's going to be like around the track itself then? Or
I'm sure they have like a venue
be like
somewhere
rock and roll
or plan for
be like
somewhere.
the rock and roll marathon where they have it's set
I
up
think
around
so.
the track?
Well, they're definitely going to block off the strip. I just
Right.
don't know what the logistics are. I mean, of course, they haven't announced like, specifics, but it's going to be huge.
The track's set though, is it not? They've already had the route, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're about to get into the market update here. We're also going to talk with Ace here. If you guys have any questions that's going on here that you guys want to talk with Ace, Zach, or myself, feel free to start, chatting in the chat box here and start talking. Get us some comments in here. Also, you guys know this is the most real behind-the-scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs happening in Las Vegas. Hit that like button, notification bell. If you guys are watching this, we need some love. We're trying to grow this channel.
Smash that like
that's
button.
why smash that like button.
Smash it.
I mean, like with a fist, right? That's why I brought Zach on here to
Both
smash
fists.
that like button, right? So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. So, we're going to talk with Mr. Ace over here. Ace is the place, right, for pools and landscape. So, Ace, let's talk, man. What's going on in your world with pools? Right now, we know that there was a lot of legislation. There's a
Yes.
lot of laws that's been come out, right,
Yes.
that said, okay, now you need to shrink the pool size.
Correct.
Also on the landscaping is, hey, you know what? You can only water so many days.
Yeah, which has always kind of been in there, but
Yeah, it's kind of been in there, but now it's really enforced.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that.
Right.
And then also, you can't have any grass in the front yard.
Correct.
Right? So let's talk a little bit about the pool situation first. So everybody knows that we are in a situation where water is scarcity, right?
Absolutely.
People have a real, like, hey, I need to know what's happening in Vegas before I even consider moving here. So talk to me about what's happening with the pool situation.
Yep.
And what regulations have come out for this, people trying to get into a pool.
right. So the Water Authority started all this, obviously, back in, I would say, probably end of May. Unfortunately, they didn't reach out to any pool builders to get our insight on what we would do, because obviously we don't want them to completely stop permitting pools. We would love to help them out and figure out ways to combat the water loss possibly the pools are putting out through evaporation. But none of that was done. So they kind of just came up with a roundabout 700 square feet, 600 square feet for your pool. And that's surface, that's water surface.
Who came up with that number, though? Why did they just come up with 600?
We have no idea how they came up with that number.
So for reference, for people that can't exactly picture how big that is, what would you compare that to?
So an average pool is 400 square feet.
Oh, okay.
So 600 is large, but at the same point in time, it's your pool, your spa, or any water features. It's a total of 600 square feet. So if you have a pool that's 400 and a typical spa is a 7x7, so that's 49 square feet. So you're about 450. But on these bigger lots, and that's kind of where the big discrepancy comes in, you got these people that have half acre lots, full acre lots. They
Yeah.
can still only build 600 square feet.
Right. And so the same applies to like these high-end properties, right? Like that you would find in McDonald's. Ranch.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and all those properties. So what we tried to do is there's about a half a dozen of us in the pool industry that started a coalition, put some money in, raised some money.
Wait a second, a coalition?
Yeah.
Are you guys like coalition? Man, you guys are going all
That's
out.
what we called it. We hired a lobbyist and really tried to not fight this, but make it where it was a law that made sense on every level for the pool builders, for the homeowners, and obviously for the water conservation. You know, I mean, we don't, like I said before, we don't want to have them say that you can no longer build pools in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm going to say this too. You see those vintage style homes with those big pools. You have the Olympic
The old
style.
school, right.
Those are going to have a premium because now you
You're
can't
exactly
get
right.
a pool
You're exactly right.
because anytime it's scarcity, right? So
Right.
I've been to and seen those pools. Those things are huge.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Yeah. The
Now,
old school.
let me say this though.
The old school 20
You
by
have
40.
enough money, right? Let's say you're a celebrity or somebody that's got money. Is there any way that you just kind of somebody turns
No.
cheek on that?
It's not.
No, under
it's
the
not
table.
happening.
Ace, I got money right now, buddy. I'm going to line you up.
It's not, hey, I'll put it this way: the Fertittas can't get it to work. So
Oh, so the Fertittas called you.
no, so
They got him
saying
on
that,
speed
Dan.
dial, dude. Of course.
Fertittas called Ace over here and said, Ace, what is it going to cost
Toss.
to put in a 100 square foot pool,
I mean,
right?
they're
100 square foot? All right. What
what I can do.
Are you an Inspirata or something?
So that's the issue, right?
It's out there. The city and county put it in September 1st. Henderson, September 19th. So this coming up Monday, no more above 600 square feet. Boulder City, they're January 1st. They're going to put it January 1st, obviously, of 2023. And then you got North Las Vegas, who it's still out there October 1st. They have another planning meeting that they're going to decide when they're going to put this into play. So
It's crazy. So, like, what you think a lot of people are going to start doing the above ground pools?
no, because that's 600 square feet. I mean, an above ground pool. I don't even know if they're making above ground pools at 600 square feet. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I think what it is going to cause is it's going to cause somebody that would normally only put a 400 square foot pool in. I think it's going to drop some of those costs where they're going to go, oh, well, for only that much more money, I can do 600 square feet. Well, let's just do 600. So I don't necessarily know if they've thought a lot about this on how it's going to break down.
Right. So let me say this too. Like, you have material costs, and we all know inflation. Everybody's always talking about it. It's on every podcast, every news channel. It's inflation. So you have inflation in your business.
Sure.
I think every business for some, has to pass some of that to the consumer.
Sure.
What is the challenges you've been having on trying to get pool equipment and just equipment in general?
So equipment and materials haven't been too bad. I mean, the first year of COVID, that was bad. The second year, it hasn't been as bad as the labor shortage. The labor shortage has been terrible. What used to take us 4 months to build a pool is now taking 6 to 7 months.
Are you guys having issues trying to find good contractors, good workers?
Absolutely.
Because I see a lot of people quitting. They had the mass exodus of people quitting, right? You've heard about
gosh.
this?
Yeah,
Yes.
like, where'd they all go?
Yeah, where'd they go?
They got stimulus checks and they left the building, right? I mean,
never returned.
but I see that a lot of people are like, just, hey man, I'm looking for the next best thing. Now, a part of that is cost of living's gone up. So now you gotta find another alternate route, right? It's
Right.
like, what
Another
else do I
stimmy.
do? What's that?
I said another stimmy.
Well, every time you turn on your phone, there's another stimmy coming.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never see it.
No,
Do you guys see a stimmy? I don't see stimmies.
I don't
do you
see him either.
No.
Zach, you don't see a stimmy?
No.
So I just
Wait,
think,
why do you sound surprised? We're in the same industry.
no, I know. I just was wondering, like, because I don't know anybody that I.
Is it because
that's-
I'm young?
No, I just felt like you would know the system better than me.
Oh, the system. Trust me, dude. The moment I set foot on this green earth, I just studied and learned every possible thing about stimmies there is to know. Okay.
But they're flooding the market with money, right? I mean, that's what they're doing. So I think people are looking to change jobs. I don't think it's anything personal. I look at a job, an occupation as they're not faithful. Like, there's always somebody to replace somebody else, right? Jobs will always find somebody else. It's about what you're trying to accomplish with your family. So I'm not. There's no loyalty to me for a business. I don't know about you, and that's hard to say that, but it's true.
Yeah, you
right?
try to create that though. you do try to create it just like your family. I mean, I'm a small business owner, but I look at my employees as family and try to take care of them as much as possible, where hopefully they don't leave because they are good employees. And it's so hard to find good employees right now that you try to treat them like family and give them.
Yeah, but I think when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, I love you, Ace. You're great, man. You gave me all these opportunities.
Right.
But I need more money. Cost of living's going up.
Sure.
Food is stabilizing. I'm not even stabilized, but it's higher, right? Because of inflation. It's going to continue to go up. It has gone up. I got to make decisions based upon that, not about loyalty. I think that's the hard part is people, when they look, go ahead.
And there's been a lot of that, Dan. A lot of people have. So in the pool industry, we've always had an issue with non-licensed contractors doing work forever. How, unfortunately, because the labor shortage is so short right now, even the bigger companies right now are really being affected by this, where before they were not. So like what you said is definitely true and happening. Unfortunately, if people are using those unlicensed contractors and they have any issues, they're
screwed.
Yeah, they're screwed.
Again, I don't think it's anything personal. I think people just are making decisions now because they're forced to. It's not really about like, well, do I like Ace? Do I like my job? I'm sure they do. But it's now I'm forced to make a decision. And it's, a lot of people that are surviving now have to have 2 household incomes.
Right.
And so I think that's it. So going back to the pool situation with the water shortage, when is this going to take effect for everybody out there?
So like I said, it already has in city and county. There's some other jurisdictions that are still waiting. Boulder City is January 1st, 2023. North Las Vegas is going to have another meeting October 1st. So they could be, on November 1st possibly. And Henderson is this Monday, the 19th.
Do you think that's
it?
Do you think it's going to slow your business down? And do you think people are going to start saying, hey, I can deal without a pool? I can't deal without a pool in Vegas.
Right. I worry about both things. I feel like with inflation and where everything's going there, I think the industry's going to slow down. Then I feel like this is kind of just maybe one more thing that is like, oh, well, maybe we'll just wait and see. And I have had clients that have said that, where they have bigger yards and they're like, well, let's just see, because I want a bigger pool. Let's just see where this goes in the next maybe 6 months. So, I mean, there's a pool right now that I'm not selling because of this issue.
So if you grandfathered in, you got a pool, right?
Yes.
We all know that if you have pool maintenance, you guys do that, right?
I don't know, no maintenance.
No maintenance.
Design,
you just do all
design and build.
Just design and build.
Correct.
So you look at the situation with just pools in general. I feel that we're going to have an issue where people are just going to say, hey, you know what? I'm okay with getting that pool, but there's going to be something down the line for people that have a business that have pools that you don't feel like you're going to lose traction with consumers or buyers out there buying into pools. Like, meaning, you get what I'm saying? Like, people aren't going to buy as many pools, so your business is going to suffer.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Do you feel that?
I think it could very well happen. Yes, I do.
So, I mean, what challenges are you trying to, or what things are you trying to change?
I haven't figured that out yet. I tell you what, though, I think the remodel industry is going to get a lot larger for that same reason. Like you said, if you want a bigger pool, well, maybe that house, in the Scotch 80s or in some of these areas that had bigger pools that were built in, the 80s and 90s, those might be pools that you get remodeled and you aren't pulling permits on those, and so you aren't having any issues.
What if you transition to like, okay, I'm a contractor, I'm doing pools. Maybe you just do kitchens and maybe you do something else, because you could possibly do that. Because I know you specialize in pools. Everybody needs a pool in Vegas. Like, if you don't have a pool, I mean, you just have to go out there. It was 115
Well, you can't
degrees.
invite somebody over to your house if you don't have a pool in the summer, right?
Right. It's like, what do you want to do? Go in the backyard? Nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm not going to 115 degrees. I'm not going to do that.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think that it's not going to go away, but it's definitely the demand might slow down.
Sure.
And I think that's going to hurt businesses.
Yeah, and like you said, there's other facets that you can get into. Outdoor living is becoming huge as well, right? You have your patio cover, your entertainment wall with your TV, your barbecues, your fire pits. So those are other avenues that you could get into as well.
So you guys do all that. You guys do
yes.
the barbecue pit. Correct. What about like the patio cover? You did the patio cover, pavers?
Yep.
Really?
Any
Landscaping?
Yes.
The artificial grass?
Artificial turfs. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Which is another thing, obviously, with the water authority also, with the artificial turfs. Now, that's a cost value that I don't know if a lot of people are necessarily going to say, let's put artificial turf in. They might necessarily say, okay, well, we're just going to put rock in. So, I mean, rock yards could be going crazy, and they already have also within the last 2 or 3 years, where it's hard to get material sometimes at rock yards. So that could be a whole nother avenue that people haven't really thought about.
Well, I can say this, man. So you have that part of it. Now let's talk about the landscaping part of it. I don't think that's ever going to go away, right? I think in Vegas, I mean, nobody wants grass. You can get grass in your backyard, right? You can still have that. What is the
I don't know what the term. I don't know exactly what the square footage is.
Well, I think it's you could have half of your backyard, I believe, grass.
Was it it's a percentage?
I think it's. I don't know if it's a percentage. My understanding is it's half of your backyard. For whatever it is, you can't have. I mean, obviously, you got to look at the
lot size.
The lot size,
sure.
Because I mean, you got a 1 acre lot. You're not going to have. You know what I mean? But you got. There is. Yeah, I think that's kind of the regulation.
And Dan, the reason why I don't know that, I can't remember the last time I put real grass in someone's yard. I mean,
so I'm going to tell you a story about this. So I go outside, and they had the water police show up at my neighbor's house.
Water police.
Yeah, and they showed up, and they got the clipboard, waiting for the person to come home. Comes home, and he goes, "Sir, we need to have a conversation over here." This guy walks over like he's in serious trouble, which he was.
Yeah.
And they're monitoring people. He was watering his grass in the daytime on a Monday.
Right. During the day.
Yeah, and they actually have
unrestricted hours. Yeah, absolutely.
Water police now.
Right. Which is something that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Which was one of the things that when we presented what we did to the water authority and what the pool industry wanted to do was create more of those so that we could stop some of that water usage that way. But I won't get into to any of that on what we presented that they just turned down.
Wow.
So we got a question here. It says, question for Ace. Do you see, I want to bring this up really quick. It says, Ace, do you see the higher interest rates for cash out refis is this for Ace? Question for Ace. Do you see the higher interest rates for cash out refis and or HELOCs causing a pullback on consumers pulling the trigger on a new pool?
Well, yeah,
good question, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I would say this, that financing has increased immensely over the last 3 months on the pool side. I would say in the late 2010s, everyone was paying cash, and now everybody is financing their pool. I would say it went from a 80-20 cash finance to now almost a 50-50 cash finance, which I could still see that even coming even higher with the financing maybe being 80 and cash 20 nowadays.
So what is the cost of just a basic pool? And is it going to keep consistent because we know the pools are smaller? Is it going to stay the same cost?
So there has been steel and concrete, plumbing has gone up 3 times in the last 12 months.
Wow.
Yes.
So say yes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is the cost today? I mean, you can ballpark it because people might just drop whatever they have in their hand when you say it. But
right.
If they're watching this show and it's like, oh, this is what?
Yeah,
absolutely. What is it?
So I would say 2015, you could get a pool for $65,000. 2020, you could get a pool for $85,000, and now we're at basically $100,000 for a pool. Now that's pool and decking, but no landscaping or anything else. And we're at $100,000 now.
And that's just to walk out and just really rinse my feet off.
You're jumping in. You're enjoying your spot. Don't make it seem too bad.
So what if I want to jump in and I get my legs wet? Is that like 150? Nice.
Jeez. That's awesome.
I mean, you're talking about a nice size pool with the little water feature, but even to me, it's gone.
No, I get it. I get it.
I used to take a proposal and slide it across the table and not feel bad about it. I slide that proposal across the table now, and I'm like, oh God, I hope they know where the industry is.
Yeah, it's like people shopping rates. You see a better rate, dude. It's like I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm gone out of this thing.
Yeah.
So I get it. I mean, look. So looking at your situation, and you see pools going up, right? Where do you see the pool sector or the pool, pools going forward, like your business?
Right.
Where do you see that occupation going forward if you're a business owner out there?
I don't think prices are coming down. I mean, once they go up, I don't think they're going to come back down. No. And most of the pricing that's gone up is basically because of the labor, and labor's not going to go down cost wise, and material's not going to go down. So I don't see our pricing coming down at all. And depending on the housing market, and if they can, refinance or do something like that, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be touching cash right now with where we're at in the country and the economic.
Yeah, let's talk about the landscape. I mean, not the landscaping, but the financing part of it. So how does that work for somebody? Can you take me down the path of how somebody goes through the process of getting a loan,
Right. So there's
and what do they typically?
So there's
do?
about 3 or 4. I should say 3. We've used in my company. There's 3 or 4 that we've used quite a few times. I shouldn't say we, but the client has used over the years. And a lot of it used to be refinancing your house. Well, I don't think anybody's going to refinance their house when they were at a 3%, and now they're going to be at, you guys know the numbers.
Oh yeah,
better than I
stay
do
tuned to
on-
that because
on-
we're going to talk about this mortgage lockdown. We're all in lock. We're not going home tonight. It's lockdown tonight. Mortgages. Everybody in
Mortgages
this
are
room.
locked in the studio.
You're not going to go see your family tonight, Ace.
Oh, gosh.
Give them a call.
Sorry, Trey, I'm missing the
about
game
me?
tonight.
Zach, you're going to be cooking in the
Zach,
conference room over
you
here.
are going down to Fremont.
I told you I do nothing but work, so it's all right.
Zach's
No mud wrestling tonight.
Zach's making calls and he's going to be in the conference room getting dinner ready. Go ahead, Ace.
It's hard to say right now where things are going to go and how people are going to be getting their money and how they're going to spend the money that they do have. It'll be interesting to see in the next, 6 to 12 months.
So you're saying they're the HELOCs, right? Do a lot of people take out HELOCs, home equity line of credits, to get the money? Maybe they have equity rich, right?
Right.
Over, I think it's like 50% of the population has a ton of money. Like, I think it's like over, I don't know, $100,000 equity minimum.
Right.
Something crazy number.
Right. I
Where
can see that.
They're equity rich right now here in Las Vegas. Now, I know that's coming down. We'll talk about that more. But your situation is, are people using that equity to buy things like pools right now?
I think they're going to start to. Like I said,
Really?
I haven't seen it happen too much yet, but there's been a lot of different ways of financing that they've been using. So I could see that, very well being in the mix.
I want to also bring this up. So Running at Altitude has some good questions. So does Verstar. So we're going to say this. Verstar said the stock market took a fat, you know what? And we're going to talk about that here in a second. You're right about that. Also, Running at Altitude says some pools are being filled in due to the extra cost of ownership. Absolutely. They're filling it in with dirt because you can't have a pool that's not running. So if you're doing financing on it, you got to fill it in. Also, he said that I'm calling out my neighbors. Absolutely. I'm calling, dude, if you got your water on and you're in my neighborhood, Southern Highlands, you better watch out.
Right.
I got the clipboard coming at your doorstep.
Dan, I didn't know you lived in Southern Highlands.
Oh, yeah, man. The
Next to the
cactus,
cactus.
man.
I'm at the cactus.
Neighbors.
Yeah,
I
here's
didn't
the
know
thing,
that.
man. I drive right past where he lives every day, and I'm just thinking, man, that lifestyle must be amazing.
You know they changed the name of the place, right?
What is it?
It's not Cactus Life anymore.
What is it?
Cactus Hills.
Oh, see, is that like the
New ownership.
New ownership.
Yeah.
Is it still the same lifestyle?
Yeah.
Are you getting massages like, when you get home? Like you
We
got
have a
like
pool.
You got to,
have a
Hey,
pool.
there you go.
Ace.
They're still living the lifestyle.
You're living the lifestyle, Ace. All right, let's go over here. So we're going to take a look. So, yeah, I'm cutting out the middleman, Ace. I guess he's going to do the pool on his own.
Yeah.
All right. Questions for Dan. What is it likely to return on investment on a $100,000 pool? So what is the likely return of investment? Well, I'm going to say this. So that's a good question, by the way.
And we talked about a little bit of this, Dan, earlier.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. So you're not going to always get, or probably never get, especially today, the return on your investment on a pool, because you want to buy a house that has it. It's similar to like having a house that has already the upgrades in the house, because you don't want to do it yourself. You'll probably never get the full return.
Sure.
Especially with a pool. So if you go in and put it in, that's more of like, hey man, I have a family, I want to do that. But you're not going to get the same return of $100,000. You'll probably get, what do you think, 50%?
Yeah, I would say it used to be 20 to 25, and I think it's around 50% now.
It's around 50%.
Yeah, I really do think so.
I can say this: there's people that put in offers on pools because there's not a lot out there. Well, there wasn't. And they would definitely
sell faster, correct?
Supply and demand.
Right.
And you see that?
Yeah. Oh man, the amount of people that call me, and they specifically want something with a pool, and of course, first of all, what we were seeing with the inventory shortage, that was one thing, and then just to narrow it down to homes with pools, that was already
sure.
So I don't know.
So what is the question, though, Zach? Here's the question: is when you get a client, how many times do they say, "I want a pool"?
It's a pretty good majority.
I'm going to say it's 80%.
Yeah. I mean, it's either I want a house with a pool or at least a lot that I could
Put a pool in.
Yeah, right.
Correct.
So I don't know. Do you think the restrictions are going to affect that, upfront decision on whether they can do that or not? Because now you're looking at a pool and, hey, how big is this pool? Am I going to build something this big, or, you know what I mean? It's really interesting. So yeah, I mean, most people do. I have a couple people here and there that they're like, oh yeah, we don't want to deal with the maintenance, but that's, just a few people every
Right,
now and then.
right.
You know?
Well, I'm going to say this. There's a lot of shadow YouTubers out there watching us right now that's not hitting that like button. You better start hitting that like button. We know where you guys are at. We see this going on, right, Ace?
Hit it.
Ace is the place, right? So let's say this, Ace. We're going to finish this up. One thing I want to say is this. What do you like about Las Vegas? A lot of people always think like, well, the water shortage is here. We have, issues with traffic. Like, what do you like about Vegas?
So I'm born and raised here. I mean, I love it. I left for 2 years at California, and I came back and haven't left since. We just talked about one of the things. They got Formula One here now. They got basketball. They got football. We're going to soon have men's basketball, WNBA, or should be NBA, not WNBA, NBA. Plus all the shows, the entertainment. I mean, it's just, you have Lake Mead's down, but you can still go out to Lake Mead.
Yeah.
You can go, 3 hours to Bryan Head. I mean, we have everything here that you want to do.
I'm going to say this too, Ace. I mean, there's a lot of people out there thinking, well, this is a high cost for pools. Things are changing. Look, man, it's across the country.
It's across the country.
For all different types of businesses. It's not just pools.
You're exactly right. And a pool here that's $100,000 in California is going to be $150,000.
100%.
So it's not like our rates have spiked higher than any other part of the country. It is what it is.
Yeah, and look, man, I get it. You got to run a business. Sometimes, people have to pass the cost to the consumer, and you're not going to just sit here and take the bulk of it. You won't be in business, right?
Absolutely.
So my thing is this, man, is that for landscaping for pools, just give Ace a try, man. Because I'll tell you right now.
Appreciate that plug, Dan. Thank you.
Yeah, well, let me say this. Because you just never know, right?
Absolutely.
And you never know, like, maybe it's better than you expected. Like, and maybe Ace isn't for you.
I was going to say that also. I still tell people to get three offers, or not offers, but 3 proposals and see where they're at. And, some people fit other people more than other people. So, it's out there and it's not going anywhere. People are still going to get pools and want to have that experience and create those memories with their family and their friends in their backyard.
And also, too, man, wages here have to go up. But I know that if things like that happen where wages here go up or people start to get more money or make more money,
right,
then maybe the pool situation isn't as bad.
Right.
Also, if the materials and things start to, as we saw before COVID, start to get normal again, maybe we don't have these costs.
Right.
So it might be just temporary anyways, but I would just at least pick your brain and give you a call, right?
Right. At the same time, think about where we're at now when we didn't have that much on the market, right? That houses with pools were selling more. So even though if you aren't getting 50% back in another 3 years, when we have a crazy market possibly again, or 2 years or 10 years, it still adds immense value to your house, as well as, like I said, creating those memories with your friends and family, which is what it's all about for me.
What do you not like about Las Vegas? Last question, because you got to say something. You can't just be like, "Oh, Las Vegas."
Well, back in the day, 20 minutes you could be anywhere. And I know people coming from California. I know people from California were like, "Well, yeah, but 40 minutes is nothing. We'd be 2 hours." Well, I didn't live in California. I've always lived here. In 20 minutes, you could get from Henderson to Summerlin, and you can't do that anymore. So in my industry, it's really tough because I got to be here and be there. And so that's probably what I would say the most is just the traffic. But other than that, it's gotten better for me.
I want to say this, guys. Use Ace, or at least give him a call, right? Look, like I said, everybody doesn't fit. I know people don't fit with me, know. Sometimes, it's just personalities don't fit, right, Zach? Sometimes people just don't get your vibe.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Sometimes you got to dance with them, right, Zach?
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to dance,
And
Mr.
I'm going to tell you.
Jabwalkies over here.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, Ace, you're a good guy, man. You've come on here a couple of times. Yeah. I want to get business for Ace. If you guys, please, you don't have to.
Check reviews.
Yeah, check reviews.
Check reviews.
Look, like I said, man, costs are going up. I understand if inflation's an issue, you guys are out there. But if you're looking to get a pool, give them a call if you guys are looking to buy a house, or if you have a house now and you guys are trying to put a pool in, or landscaping.
Or landscaping, yeah.
Or landscaping.
Or outdoor living. Outdoor living is a huge thing now. You put the barbecue, TV wall, fire pit, ceiling fan if you don't want to do the pool, so you can cool down a little bit, and you still have a nice entertaining area in your backyard.
Absolutely.
That's separate from the house. That's adding value.
I want to say this too. I want your opinion on what's happening in the Las Vegas market, because Zach and I are going to go back and forth. We're going to duke it out here today.
Nice.
So I want you to be involved, and I want your opinion on things. But I want to say thank you for coming on to the show.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
I want people, hopefully you guys give them a call, or give you guys a call, and maybe give you guys a shot. So
wonderful.
Let's go ahead and move over. We are going to move over to the mortgage lockdown. Is that really happening right now? So let's talk about what's happening with rates. We know that the Fed came out today. Or not the Fed, but the inflation numbers came out today. And core PCE It's consumer personal expenditure, right? So is it core? I don't know what I said, but
You said
core-
PCE.
PCE. Is it core
CPE.
CPE? There you go. I don't know why I'm dyslexic. So that came out today, and it was higher than expected, right? And what that does is it removes energy, and it also removes gas, and also it's food and gas. So they remove that. That gives us a better number for what actually the numbers are for inflation. And so when you're looking at that, we see inflation going up. What does that mean for rates? It means rates are going up too, right? And so if you look at those numbers and that data, mortgage rates are already, the national average is over 6%. We're already seeing people pulling back. We're not going to see those rates at like 2.5% like we saw before. It's just not going to happen, right? And so what is this going to do for the housing market? Because I feel the Fed's meeting's coming up. They're going to raise these rates again, 75 basis points. Potentially, if some of the data is a little bit better than expected going into next week, they might only do it a 0.5 point. I think it's going to be 0.75 of a point. Have you heard anything about this, Zach?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the reason they're raising the rates in the first place is to what? Combat inflation, right? Obviously, demand has gone down quite a bit, but what has that done to inflation, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you just kind of hitting the head. I'm on the same page with you in terms of inflation is still, I guess if you're looking at the bigger picture, kind of high, right? So what are they going to do?
Well, inflation's high, but it's high just in certain sectors. The gas has obviously come down, right? And you look at the food costs, they're staying the same, right?
Yeah.
And they've actually gone up a little bit. And so what it's saying, and the data they're saying, is that what they're trying to do is slow the economy down. It's working, but in certain sectors, but in some sectors it's not, right? They don't include food because it's volatile. Same with gas and some of the, energy levels and data that they take in. So when you're looking at this data and you're saying, well, what are they going to do with rates? They're definitely going to raise, in my opinion, they're going to raise the Fed's fund rate. And so are we in a mortgage lockdown? Because if you look at the mortgage rates, they're already at 6%. I feel that they're never going to get back to the levels we saw of, after COVID, right? The 2.5, even the low 2s. And
Yeah, that wasn't normal.
Yeah, it wasn't normal. And you saw that, we've been decreasing.
We got spoiled.
Yeah, that's a once in a lifetime, right? I mean,
Yeah, it is. We've been decreasing over the last 10 years, subtly over, 2%, almost like every year. It's just been coming down more and more and more. This is the first year that we saw an increase in rates. And what is this doing for people? Well, it's locking them down in their house.
right.
Because what's happening is if you're a seller out there, if you're looking to sell your house, why would you leave a house where you have equity, you're equity rich, you got a 2.5 to 3% interest rate.
Yeah.
People are staying in their houses longer. Where are you going to go, right? So why would I change that for a 6% rate, possibly not the same house, and I'm starting all over again? And then I basically, you could put the money down and put the equity back into it, but is it really a good change? And the cash flow for Americans today is actually a little bit better based upon data we see. Not for everybody, but based upon the data. So you're seeing it out there, but I still feel that if we keep going up, which they will, I mean, is this a death sentence for people out here to buy a house in Las Vegas?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a tough question, because I mean, it is for people that I think are tight with their budget already, right?
Yep.
Because, that if we go up 0.5 point, then that might make the difference between somebody being able to afford something and then somebody not being able to afford it, right? Whereas on the other hand, I've got people that they've got cash, they can afford to make that difference, or they can afford to buy the rate down. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It really depends. I mean, it's such a weird market right now. And then I think there's a debate of, hey, is the market crashing or are we just going through a correction, right? I mean, I think there's just so many.
I don't know if it's a correction.
There's so many moving parts,
Here's what it is that the data lags. Inflation numbers lag. So when they make a change like this and they raise the Fed's fund rate, you don't see the instant change right now in what the data is for the economy to slow it down or to bring inflation down. Right. It takes time.
Absolutely.
So you got to watch the data. And so they're taking this and going, okay, well, this last raise that we did for the Fed's fund rate, it really didn't. It did a little bit, but it didn't do what we wanted it to do.
It didn't move the needle enough.
It didn't move the needle, right? And so now you're looking at it going, okay, if you're the Fed and you're going, okay, we got to raise it again. Now, if you're out there and you're a buyer out there and you're looking at this going, well, rates could go to 7.5%, and then that could stay there and sustain itself for what, maybe fourth quarter, maybe heading into the 2023, the first quarter. How do you see buyers out there really staying in this market? Because I feel every time this happens,
it's still Vegas, baby.
Well, you know what? Just
time.
bouncing off your point, it's going to take some time for us to see, the effects of what's going on. If they bump the rates up, we're not going to see that effect tomorrow, or you know what I mean? So just what I've been seeing on my end, I think it was just such a shock when the rates first went up. Everybody was like, whoa, what's going on?
It's such a short window of time.
Well, right. But then we started seeing all these incentives, and, me personally, I had people that, took a step to the side to say, hold on, wait a minute, what's going on? But with these incentives, I have some people come back, and you know what, now we're able to shop around. Now, people that didn't have $20,000, $30,000 to pay above appraised value were able to come back in. And like I said, these builders, some of them were paying some really crazy incentives, like they're offering to buy the rate down and, this and that. So me personally, I saw some things come back, but if the rates continue to go up, what's the difference going to be there,
Well, I think people have already psychologically checked out, some people, right? And it's just fine. I mean,
Sure.
if you got to buy and you're a first-time home buyer, this might be the market for you. But I feel that a lot of people have checked out because they know that it's not going to get better before it gets worse, right? It's going to get worse before it gets better,
Right.
And so you're seeing fourth quarter, you're seeing that inflation's still high. And I'm looking at it going, well, if we go to 7%, a payment with the houses we see, we have, over 11,000 homes in the market right now, right? Total homes?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure you looked. Did you look at the number?
I looked at some. Yeah, I didn't get the exact numbers, but I think it's 11,000.
That's why you said 11,000.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
so think about this.
And
How
what
fast-
only 3 months ago was it like 2,000 on the
It was
market?
like, almost 4,000, right?
Yeah, it was like 3,500,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And so you're looking at it going, okay, so how far do we go up on the inventory? Because supply and demand.
Right.
And then if rates do come down, let's say that rates come down. I feel they're going to come down to like 4% if they do. How fast are people going to get back in the market? And then all these properties are going to just go away? Because look, we know what's happening here. We know that people are sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what's going to go on.
Sure.
And I think if you see rates come down to 4%, even let's say 4.5%, you're going to see a frenzy come back in this market.
I agree, yeah.
And it's like, okay, what is that transition going to look like? Because the transition from us going from a 3.5 rate to 6% was so quick. I think it really shell shocked people.
Yeah.
So I feel that right now you look at sellers, you look at with the core PCE come out, which is the core inflation gauge that the Fed goes with, that coming out and showing that we're still increasing off that gauge, right? It's still going up. I can't see why they would not raise the Fed's fund rate again 75 basis points. I think it's going to happen. And I feel that sellers that are out there, even people considering to sell, you have sellers.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that real quick, but I don't feel they're going to do anything because where are they going to go, right? And it's like, why would you change a low payment like that for a house that you might have to pay more for with a higher rate, even though you're equity rich and you could put money down? Why would you change that? What are some of the challenges you're seeing with sellers out there?
Well, with my sellers that I have right now, actually, one of them we actually got under contract in I believe 5 days. And then on the other hand,
why do you think that happened though? Why do you think 5 days it was like, hey, because I hear horror stories out there, 30 plus days listing a house. Why was it 5 days?
Well, I'll touch on a couple points, right? First of all, I think 5 days, we priced it appropriately. I had that discussion up front, just educating my people on, hey, this is what the market's doing. We can't put our feet in the water and just try and test the market because this isn't the type of market to do that, right? You could have done that 6 months ago and still had multiple offers, right? So we just priced appropriately and that was that. We got a full price offer, so that ended up working out. But yeah, you hear, like you just said, horror stories of, homes sitting on the market for 30 days, 60 days. I do have a couple listings that have been sitting for a bit. And I think we priced back we did comps right when things kind of started taking a bit of a dip. So we had to make that adjustment. Now we're starting to get some traffic, some showings. But I mean, what was average days on market before all this craziness?
That's what I was going to ask.
30 days is pretty normal.
Yeah.
2 days, 5 days, that's insane. Obviously you're going to get this unicorn of a property where, it's going to sell within the first week, but 30 days is, by no means a long, long time, right? I mean, once you start to seeing 90 days, 60 days, then, things will start to get a bit stagnant. But, a lot of properties you see on the market right now are sitting for that long.
And I'll tell you, sellers they have to be sold a little bit, where you go back to a market where it was just like you list it and it would just sell itself.
Right. You didn't have to do anything.
You didn't have to do anything. Right. And you're just like, dude, I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
It's money in the bank.
Absolutely.
And that's how easy it was, right? Especially in this, supply and demand, scarcity. And now it's like you have to work. So how many things are you doing right now, like for sellers out there that's really selling their house? Like, okay, I'm going to market it on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or I don't know. And then also I'm doing open house. Like, are you doing stuff like that?
Yeah. But ultimately, the most important thing is just pricing properly.
I agree.
You can do all the marketing you want. You could, throw your property tour on YouTube and, get a couple 100,000 views. But if it's overpriced by 20, 30%, especially with where we're at, in this type of market, who's going to throw an offer at you? You might get an offer, but it might be, low price. Yeah. So, I mean, realistically, it's just, pricing it properly. And then of course you want to bring as much traffic as you can. So that's just additional, open houses. I personally, what I do when I have a listing with a seller, I'll call the neighborhood. I'll even door knock. It's so hot now, but I'll door knock the neighborhood.
Attaboy.
Yeah. I mean, you're outside doing pools and stuff.
Absolutely.
So
if you're in it, you're in it, right?
I sound like a little girl right now. No, I'll knock doors and stuff. Like I want to meet the neighbors. So there is a lot that we do to, service our sellers. But at the end of the day, we got to have a good price.
Yeah. I think everybody out there that's selling your house, the market's going to dictate what your house is going to sell for.
Price, right.
If you go out there and you price it out and you're not getting any offers, I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to figure out that that's probably overpriced, right?
Yeah.
If it's sitting 60 days, probably overpriced, right? I mean, if you got no offers,
right.
Okay, if you don't upgrade your house or you don't have all the fixings, right, where everything's ready to go and you don't have any, if it's a move-in ready turnkey home and it's priced out well, Zach, it's 5 days, right?
5 days, baby.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I got 5 on it.
And look, listen, even if it's not, that's not a problem, right? I mean, it'll probably sit for a bit longer, like I said, 30 days is normal.
Right.
It's not,
Just,
something to
I think
freak
over
out
the last
about.
couple of years, people just forgotten
Now,
about
yeah,
that, right?
if we were in January and your home was sitting on the market for 30 days,
then you got issues.
Either you talk to your agent about what they're doing wrong,
Right.
or you look at the property and maybe you got to clean up a little bit. I don't know.
Well, in 2007, we had 4 million homes across the country listed to sell. Right now, we have 1.3 across the country listed to sell. So we're still far off from what we saw in 2007. So a lot of people out there are like, well, the market's going to collapse, things like that. Look, we're not saying that we're not retracting, because we are.
Right.
But we're still not at the levels we saw.
I mean, you guys don't see the market crashing, right?
I mean, that's a topic for like another day, but
Yeah.
to kind of say like, is it going to really collapse like it did? No, I don't think it will collapse like it did. Now, do I feel like we're going to regress this year? Yeah, I feel like
Absolutely.
it's had to.
And right, we got to we got to get back to somewhat of a normal, right? I mean, 2 days in your house isn't sold. Is it normal? 30,
right.
60 days, that's more normal. So
Right,
we have
it's
to
more
get back
normal.
to that.
Also, too, like you look at employment still strong, right? We still have strong. Now, I want to bring up one other thing here before we kind of move over to the next topic, and I'm going to talk with Zach a little bit about what's happening with the data. Bank of America came out with a program that says no down payment, no closing costs, no FICO for first-time home buyers.
Oh, wow.
And everybody's like, well, is that the new stated program, right? Because that's what really contributed to what happened in 2004 or 5, to have problems, right?
Yeah.
People getting into loans. Again, is it a risk? Sure. If you're a loan officer out there, if you're somebody out there that's putting your name on that, if anything defaults, right, especially in a very short window of time after you close, you could be liable for some things, or you might have your commission rescinded, right? So there's things out there like programs like that, and I'm not saying I'm not a fan of it, but I'm just saying that when you have no skin in the game, sometimes there's risk, and that risk could outweigh the reward.
Right.
And I think, what do you think about that? Have you heard about this program?
I did actually. It's funny. Actually, the first thing I heard about it was online, and it was like a misleading title. I heard a lot of controversy around it. There was what I read, and granted, it was on Facebook, but it said
That's real. That's
yeah. It says it said no down payment for Hispanic or African American first time home buyers. I was like, what?
There's none for them.
No, that's what the program was
for?
That's what I first saw. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have to look into this. And it was just a really, really misleading title, which clearly that's not the case.
Well,
right?
I think, so my thing is this, do I look at it as a house as an investment? I think the selling proposition there, the selling value was, do you look at a home as an investment? I don't. I look at it as the capacity to be able to pay into debt. Now, could you get rewarded down the road? Sure, but this is a volatile market. You don't go into it. The reason you get into a mortgage or you buy into a house is because you have to pay something. And if you have a chance to pay yourself forward, great.
Right.
But we all know, like, getting into a mortgage doesn't mean like, okay, now I've arrived and like, okay, I bought a house and I'm there. It's not an investment. It's something that, like, you're not getting a return every single month on this, and you're not getting an ROI. So I can't see how you can say, well, buying into a house is an investment and that's why I do it. Now, why would you do it? Because you have a fixed payment. You might sleep better at night. Where rates are at today, I'm not sure if that's still the same case, but where things are at right now, I would still probably be ready to have a fixed mortgage, because we know rents are going up across the country, and I would rather have that and knowing that payment's the same.
Speaking of renting, is that still on the rise as well?
Renting for year over year rents are up, but
they jumped like significantly, did they not, in the
well,
last 10 months?
Here's the thing about that. It depends on who's the landlord, right? Because Vegas really doesn't, they don't have
Too many laws.
Yeah, there's not a real cap, right?
Okay.
So when you saw these increases, there's some regulations and laws that maybe Nevada doesn't go off of as well, as far as what other states
can,
do.
right?
And so yes, you've seen increases, especially here in Las Vegas, go up a lot higher. That's why I have investors wanted to invest in this market, is because they can really get that return. And plus, when you have scarcity, people were paying their rents in a year in advance to get into a house.
Right.
$25,000, $30,000. Here
yeah.
you go.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't just with, the buying situation, right? We had multiple offers. I remember one of my sellers actually, he needed to rent, right? Like his credit was shot. Like
Sure.
he wasn't, able to purchase, and he just couldn't get into anything. They're like, yep, we got 6-7 apps, sorry.
Right.
Luckily
we ended up getting him somewhere, but it was just crazy. The renting situation wasn't any better than the buying.
yeah.
Not at all. All right, so I want to head over here. We're going to go into the last topic here, and let's talk about the mortgage situation and also just the housing situation. So we did have some numbers here. Zach, you could talk a little bit about it. So right now we have 450 is the housing number as far as the single family number, right? The median price point for a single family residence home. We've gone down from 481,000, right? The numbers. Where do you feel like this is going to go? Because I always I'm trying to get a different perspective from other realtors that's out there. That's why you're here. Where do you feel? I mean, you could just do a gut check, right? Like, sure. Hey, what do my gut feeling is on this? Where do you think we're going to head?
Well, I mean, clearly we're, going in one direction, right? And then prices are coming down. And I think it's pretty obvious when you look at, transactions, right? If you look at closings, we went from 4,000 to we're at like 2,900 for last month, I believe. I think it was 2,900, almost 3,000.
Right.
So yeah, the demand's going down. Obviously, the whole discussion right now, I mean, you're seeing it, I'm seeing it. Things
Right.
have slowed down a bit. So I think we're going to continue to go down. And especially if they bump rates up, we might go down, but let's look at how much prices went up in the past couple of years, right? I mean, we saw so much I don't want to say inflation, appreciation. So, some people might say, hey, that was an overinflated value. If we're talking whether it's a correction or whatnot, you can have your own, opinion on that. But, I think we're going back to what we can consider normal.
Take me down the process of your mindset of people out there that's buying. Like, some people just go in and buy, right? They're ready to buy. Because look, we know this has turned into a buyer's market. So we're going to kind of go in the psychological position of the seller that you're dealing with, sellers, and also buyers. When you're dealing with buyers out there, what are some of the things that they're talking about and bringing to your attention of what's important?
Well, it really depends on your situation, right? I mean, so many people ask me, being in the business, hey, how's the market? Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? And I wish I could just say, yeah, it is, or no, it's not. But it depends on your situation, right?
Well, I think, isn't that kind of funny also that the housing market has kind of become like the stock market? Like, is it a good time to get in and not a good time? I mean, the housing never
Well, that's
used
how
to be
people
like
think.
That, right?
But
Exactly.
you can't think
back
of
to
it
your
like
point,
a stock.
Dan.
Yeah, it's
Back
not.
to your
It's
point.
not an investment like
Right,
that.
right.
You can't time it because the thing is this: is like, yeah, you can hope that you buy at the bottom, which I think everybody's waiting for right now.
Right, again.
How many people do you see out there that says, oh, I'm going to wait to see what's going to happen. I'm going to wait to see what rates are going to do. I'm going to wait till next year. Right. I'm going to wait. That's fine. But at the same time, people still need places to live.
Exactly.
Shelter. There's
Yeah.
a cost to shelter.
Right.
And you have to still buy. I'm not saying everybody needs to go buy a house, but you have the clientele or the people out there that are looking to buy because they need to buy. And it's about the capacity of paying into shelter. You're buying shelter. You're not buying an investment.
Right.
And I think that's where people get misconceptions.
Right.
Well, exactly. That's what I was saying. It's, it depends on your situation. Are you buying because you have nowhere to live right now and, your landlord's kicking you out because they want to sell the property and you need a place to live? Or are you buying because, you want to purchase and, flip a property or, are you looking to make a quick buck? It depends on your situation. I think that, very, very deeply.
Are they worried about mortgage payments right now? I mean, is that like the big elephant in the room? Like the first thing they talk about is, Zach, I want to buy a house, because that's what I get. But hey, Zach, I want to buy a house. I don't know if I can pay this mortgage. I don't think I can do it.
Well, yeah, I would say, yeah, yes and no. Of course, it's always going to be brought up, right? Nobody's just out here. Yeah, you know what? Let's buy that house. We don't care about the payment. Nobody's like that. Of course, you do have certain buyers out there. I do have a cash buyer, which, they don't care about the payment because they don't have a payment.
Right. But your average
but
buyer out there, like it's got to be the right house for a cash investor, and they got to go into it knowing that they're going to get a nice return, which is rents and things like that. Usually, it's a home that's they can see that they're getting a deal on it. Maybe the cost per square foot is lower.
Sure.
But you're looking at houses today, and you're looking at people out there buying. We're talking about the average buyer out there that's looking into either buying a first-time home buyer, or maybe somebody is buying a primary residence, even a secondary home, because they're going to reside here, which is a lot of people that we deal with.
Right.
What are some of the things they're going through? Like, man, do I want to live in Vegas? Is the cost of Vegas going higher? So is this really the destination we want to go to now? Are these mortgage payments pushing us so far out that the house that we want, we're not going to be able to get it because we now have to buy a condo? I mean, that's kind of the questions, right?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I'll just tell you two different scenarios that I'm dealing with right now, right? Like one, family that I have in general, in specific, they want to purchase. They want a bigger house because, they've got 3 kids. They wanted a 5-bedroom, and, with the rates going up, all of a sudden they can't afford that. They can afford like a 3-bedroom or something, that's a lot smaller. That's not going to support that lifestyle, right? So they're questioning if they want to leave where they're at, or, they're renting. So, they're questioning if they can even go back and decide if they want to purchase. Whereas I have another client where they're not relocating, but it's just a second home. They can afford it. They want to live here part-time. So,
well, can they afford it, or is it the process of elimination where I'm in California or I'm on the East Coast and the cost of living is here higher, so I'm going to take the lesser of the two and take the lower payment, right?
Well, no. I mean, they had their eye on Las Vegas, right? For them,
do they have a gambling problem?
No, actually not. Believe it or not.
They will.
Oh man, hopefully
is that a
Fingers
conversation?
crossed.
Like, hey man, do you guys gamble? Because if you gamble, this might not be the
place for you.
Well, I mean, I don't have a gambling problem. I think I turned out fine, and I've lived here my life. So,
Well, that's why, because if they're building high risers, then they ain't building it out of your money. They're using somebody else's money.
Dude, I'm telling you, I used to work on the Strip. I was a server. I did a lot of things on the Strip, and I'm telling you, I knew people that would literally cash that check. And they would be broke for a week.
Yeah.
And they would be sitting there, and they would come in. I tell you this story all the time. They would come in, and especially if they work for the casinos, they would get those free lunches, use those cards, and be like, boom. Because I used to talk to them. And I'm not going to sit here and call anybody out, but I feel like it's a disease. Like, if you come here to Vegas and you don't know how to check your gambling,
oh, you got problems.
You may have issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
The temptation is there for sure. If you're strong-willed, then Good for you.
So
if
is that the
not-
first conversation? Okay, so listen, we're going to look at this house. When's the last time you gambled? How much money did you gamble? Right?
How many
So
hours?
if you
how
gambled
many
over
hours were you on the
$500
tables?
in the last month,
If
Vegas is not for
for
you.
you.
if you
I want
gamble,
to sell you a house. It's not for you.
if you have a gambling problem, just listen to me. Hear me out, okay?
Right.
Do not gamble your earnest money. I'm sorry, your down payment or your closing costs, because you will lose your earnest money deposit if we can't close, okay? All right.
But I mean, these are real questions that people have concerns on, right? I mean,
Of
it's not
course.
just gambling, but it's like water shortage,
Yeah.
weather, right? People like, hey man, how hot does it get? 115. Can you deal with that?
Get a pool. You'll be fine.
Right.
Well, yeah, of course.
Ace is the place.
Yeah, right. I mean, I have that talk with pretty much all my clients. You know, it's not just all business. You know, you got to get to know your people, and
Sure.
You know, I do my best to really. I handle a lot of people that are coming from out of town, so I do my best to really give them that picture so they can visualize what it's going to be like living here. So yeah, we talk about gambling, we talk about weather and stuff.
You talk about the library and Tropicana Avenue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If that's what they're looking for, I got a couple other places down here that you need to hear
Hey,
about. All
the
right.
first place we're going to go is Tropicana Avenue. We're going to just take a scenic tour, and then right from there, we're going to take a left. We're going to go to the library.
And then-
we're
and
just
then-
going to take a look at some things.
And then we're gonna have dinner in Fremont.
Peppermint Hippo. No, I was kidding. Now,
So
all of a
anyways,
sudden,
go-
we're plugging strip clubs.
Right. Where do you see this market heading? Where do you feel like this market's going? And where do you see numbers here? Like, do you feel like we're going to hit 400,000 by the end of this year as far as prices of homes?
I don't think we're going to go that low.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, because what would you consider a crash, right? I mean, everybody's.
Again, it's a misconception. A crash is different. I'm talking about
Where are
a
we gonna see
correction.
okay.
I'm talking about retraction, maybe a slight correction. We
The
can't keep
median.
going.
So-
right. Where is the median price going to be at? I feel it's going to be. I could see it going down to 410, 415 by the end of the year. I would say this by the end of the first quarter. If we keep seeing supply go the way it is, rates going up, absolutely we're going to hit 400K.
So, I mean, if you're looking in like percentage wise, I just look at numbers, right? How low have we dipped percentage wise in terms of depreciation from where we were back at the
8%.
8%? So
So
what would
let's
that-
say we lose 20%. So we lost everything we had here in Las Vegas in 2021.
I
Okay.
don't think we'll go that low.
I listen, I think it's on the table.
You think so?
I think so because you got to think if the data came out and
As
the
obscured
Fed,
as those were in 2021, right?
absolutely, you got to think that the Fed came out and saw the inflation numbers. They're going to be bullish on this. They're going to keep raising that Fed's fund rate until they get the data they want. We're not heading that direction yet. So what's that going to do? It's going to slow the economy more. And what is that going to do? It's going to probably raise rates. People aren't going to buy. Prices will keep coming down, and maybe that'll compensate for the higher rates. But is it going to be enough, right? And I think that's the question. Where our house is going to end up? If they stabilize, we're going to have a slow market. You're going to be out looking for a job, just like me.
Well, I don't know.
I'll be with you guys.
I'm keeping myself busy. Like I'll try to stay afloat.
we
here.
better start working out so we can get in that mud wrestling down in Fremont.
Oh my god.
Absolutely.
Hey, you guys could go ahead and have fun doing that. I'm not a mud wrestling type of guy.
You got anything else to say about this market here?
Yeah, I don't know. I do think we're going to see prices go down a bit. I don't know, but it's my opinion. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. I don't know if we're going to go down 20%.
Hey, man, I
but I guess we'll
appreciate
just
it.
have to see what happens, right? I mean,
What
on
do you
my
think?
end, like I said, I definitely saw things slow down, but I still have people that are out in the market, like actively looking around. Again, what happens when the rates go up, then we'll just have to see. But again, my whole outlook is, what is your situation? Then I'll tell you, hey, is it a good time? That's my thought.
I'm going to go through some questions. That's great to know.
Can I ask
that.
you guys a quick question?
Oh, yeah.
Back in 06, 07, how fast did the market crash back then when it crashed?
Well, I think what happened is that we got to a point where the economy stopped, where I feel like the water shut off here, but it shut off. See, back then they had not credit-worthy buyers.
Right.
Right? So I think that with
But-
the banking institutions,
Uh-huh.
they're
They
the
didn't-
ones that shut it down.
Correct.
We're not closing our doors, or banks are not closing their doors,
Right.
right? So I think that's a bigger difference.
Sure.
I also think today's world is more of just there was a manipulation of the bond, right, and the
Right.
Fed buying into the bond market to drive people to buy homes. And
Yeah.
I think today it's different.
It's totally different. Yeah, I agree
Right.
with you on that. But how fast did it drop when it did drop? It didn't drop.
It dropped pretty. I mean, it took a couple years.
Right.
It took like where you see like the numbers. I mean, right away we saw foreclosures happening.
Sure.
But it was because of those reasons stated income.
So let me ask you this then: in another 3 months, when we're at the end of the year, and it's been 6 months, and things are still going down, and do we have a different thought on possibly where we're at then?
I don't feel like it's going to be the same market because employment's still high. We still have people that are in their homes and they're equity rich.
Right.
And also you have to look and see that if people have the psychological position mentally that they have a job, they can go and afford these things, even if it's not buying a house, they can still sustain living.
Correct.
I think there's a point where the Fed's just trying to get this in check,
Right.
and then it's going to turn. I just don't feel like people are still spending.
Right.
And that's the thing. They want people to retract and save,
Right, and no
but
one's
they're
doing
still
that.
spending. Maybe because
Right.
the stimulus checks, maybe they had money saved because of COVID.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they're pulling money out. I don't know what it is,
Well,
but it's different.
I'll say this on the pool side. I mean, it usually takes a homeowner a year to 18 months to pull a trigger on a new pool, right? It's something you got to think about. It's a lot of money, and people were pulling triggers left and right a year ago on new pools. And so we knew in the pool market that it was going to slow down a little bit just for that reason, is because people were buying way faster than they bought before.
I agree. Also, I want to say this. Let's give a shout out to Mr. Sub-Zero Gaming. That's Matt Shields' son, I believe. And he put on here, "You suck."
really?
And then he says, "I'm out of here." Hey, I don't blame you. Dude, if I was his age, I'd be, what the hell is this stuff they're talking about? I'm out of here, dude. I'm going to game, dude. I'm going to go play some Xbox.
Yeah,
or
you
something.
got to start streaming some Warzone on here,
Dude, something else, man. It's like, yo. And then,
hop on Twitch.
yeah, and then you got to get the gaming headset, right? You got to get into it,
We
right?
got to change the chairs then too, Dan.
Hey, listen, man, I'll set you up on all that. We'll get you a nice setup going.
So give a big shout out to Matt Shield and his son. They were on the show, not his son obviously, but Matt was on the show. So I give a shout out to him. Ace, like I said, thank you for coming on,
Thanks
man.
again. I appreciate you having me.
Pleasure.
Anytime.
Yeah, and also Zach, man. Personally, I want to say thank you for coming on. You're giving your insight, giving us some nuggets out there about what you're dealing with. Do you have any last words here, buddy?
Don't go mud wrestling on Fremont. Unless you're into that, then by all means, go ahead.
Dude, that's what we need, though. We need a mud wrestling arena.
Hey.
I'll tell you, I understand it's all guys, and I know a lot of people that watch this show are guys, but you know what, man? I'm going to have a season ticket there, man. I'm going to always be there. Would you not always get dude, you would get a season
It'd be
ticket.
one of those things you just couldn't turn off like a bad accident, right?
Yeah. It's like, where are you going tonight? Oh, I'm going to go watch the game. I'm really going to be at women's mud wrestling.
Hey, as long as I got beer, I'm there, brother. I'm there.
If you guys don't know, this is the most real behind-the-scenes information on financing, real estate, money talk happening here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Dan French. Please subscribe to the channel, like the channel. We're here for you. Try to give you the right information. Call Ace. He's the place, man, for pools, landscaping. Again, thank you for coming on. Both of you guys, we'll see you guys at the next show on Saturday. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching the French Workbench Podcast. You can find us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. to find out all the information on real estate and financing here in Las Vegas. Also, check us out on our LV Home Professionals website. You can find your future home there. A lot of good information. And you can find us on audio-only options through SoundCloud.